Numerous woke activists and ideologues have been laid off as part of the massive layoffs at Bungie, which not only includes about 17% of their employees being laid off, but they are also being absorbed. A significant portion of the company is being absorbed into Sony proper. And then they're also spinning off a new studio. So it's about a third of the company has basically been eliminated, and many of them are woke activists. But before we get to this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. Wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com. And just to give a brief recap here, if you aren't aware of the news, Bungie CEO and Chairman Pete Parsons announced that Bungie was laying off 220 employees, which is about 17% of the company's staff, as well as moving 155 employees to Bungie's parent company, Sony Interactive Entertainment. Furthermore, he revealed that one of Bungie's incubation projects would be spun out into its own studio. It's believed this project consists of 75 employees. So we're looking at around 500 people, around 450 people have been let go. And that is about a little over a third of the entire company's staff. I think they had 1,300 people. They're getting rid of around 500. So that's about a third in reduction there. Parsons also explained why Bungie was executing these massive layoffs and changes. He said, due to rising costs of development and industry shifts, as well as enduring economic conditions, it has become clear that we need to make substantial changes to our cost structure and focus development efforts entirely on Destiny and Marathon. So that is kind of what happened. That was the news that broke yesterday. We are now finding out that numerous individuals that were employed at Bungie were indeed woke activists, and they have been laid off. One of them is senior narrative designer Robert Brooks. He revealed he was part of the layoffs. He wrote this on X: after nearly 5 years delivering seasonal story from Hunt all the way to Deep and sending home the most well-received expansion in our history in Final Shape, I have been laid off, and today is my last day at Bungie. What a long, strange trip it's been. This guy is a massive woke activist. He posted this back in November 2020. He says, when I was young, questioning my sexuality and not quite understanding who I was, I had a lot of people speculating, is he gay? Or other way, less friendly slurs. I didn't know the answer to that because I didn't know what bisexuality was when I was a teenager. I was confused by myself because I didn't have any proper education. And once I knew what bisexuality was, I didn't really know what it meant because I lived in a rural part of the US, had never knowingly met another bi person, and couldn't find representation of them in media. Because you are living a disordered lifestyle, frankly, that you should be resisting that temptation. It is a temptation that you are experiencing. And unfortunately, you clearly didn't get the proper education on this subject. Instead, you have been brainwashed by our very worldly culture, which wants to lead you into these disordered lifestyles, into destruction of oneself. He then shared this: representation matters, whether it's sexual orientation, race, culture. It helps you identify with yourself, understand yourself, and feel seen. This is especially powerful for groups of people who still face marginalization and persecution for the way they're born. Queer baiting exists. It's not kind and has no place in a queer-friendly community or within spaces that promote LGBT rights. There's a place and time for nuance, and that isn't it, because to do so is actively damaging to a marginalized community. He then revealed how he is an activist. He says, back when I joined Bungie, I always felt Saint 14 and Osiris were romantically involved because as a queer man, their romance made sense to me. I learned my interpretation was in fact correct when I became a narrative designer for the company, and I was overjoyed. So he literally took his fan fiction and turned it into reality. He realizes what he's done here and tries to say, like, oh, no, that was always the case. We just didn't actually say that, and I'm now saying it explicitly. I'm the one to tell you this is what it is. Because he goes on and says this: I've been writing Saint and Osiris as gay since I started working at Bungie, because that's who they were before. They are private and nuanced characters. There was never a space in which to unequivocally state their identities, but nuance is lost in an age of queer baiting. He then said, when I saw how much the community was unclear on something as obvious as is Zavala and Awoken, I realized I should probably just say something, because it's not a secret, it's not a point of speculation, and it's not some puzzle designed to be solved by the community. It's them. So yes, Saint and Osiris are gay, always have been. So clearly, this guy is indeed a woke ideologue. He is a woke activist. He is trying to promote the LGBTQ lifestyle, disordered lifestyle. He's trying to normalize this, and he's using Bungie and Destiny to do that. He's not the only one. He's not the only woke activist to be laid off. We said there's multiple of them. We've got this guy, Max Nichols. He was laid off as well. This is what he posted. After 9 years, fully half of my adult life, I was let go from Bungie this morning, along with many other amazing folks. Getting to work on a game like this where I made and helped make experiences that are enjoyed by millions of people was a huge privilege. This guy is indeed a massive activist. I don't know what's going on with this image. I'll have to see if I can fix that after this video. But he wrote this. It's always shocking to see the intense hatred, jealousy, and viciousness in the crappy parts of online gamer culture when it rears its head. I will assume anyone who's mad at Sweet Baby Inc. right now is a murderous white supremacist. So this guy's absolutely unhinged, complete activist, should not be working in the video game industry. Clearly saying anyone who poses woke ideology is a murderous white supremacist. Absolutely disgusting, sickening behavior. He should have been fired in March for making these comments. Just kind of shows you who Bungie hires, right? And who they keep employed. Just absolutely disgusting stuff right here. He added, don't let the polite Nazi into the bar rules apply. It is completely self-defeating to talk to these people. The only reason I speak about it at all is to help signal to others outside that cult that know they're scum. And yes, everyone knows it. I mean, completely unhinged lunatic here. He should be barred from the video game industry moving forward, describing paying customers as murderous white supremacists and scum. Absolutely unacceptable behavior right here. Just completely unhinged stuff here. Just truly, truly evil stuff. So we got another person here, Hazel Monforton. She also revealed she was laid off. She posted this. I was unfortunately impacted by today's layoffs. My time at Bungie has been incredibly creatively fulfilling, and I've had the privilege of working with some of the best people in the industry. She is a radical transgender activist who was part of the failed Hogwarts Legacy boycott. She posted this in 2023, February 2023. That person, so she's obviously responding to this guy, Colt Rag, who said it's a video game, referring to Hogwarts Legacy. Buying a game just because it happens to pay a single person you don't like doesn't make him transphobic. Everyone on Twitter needs to relax. Hazel responded saying that person, referring to J.K. Rowling, goes on to support people who materially harm trans people. There's no such thing, so you can't really harm them if they don't actually exist. So yes, supporting her is transphobic. Transphobia doesn't exist either because there's no such thing as transgenderism. You are male or female. Glad I could clear that up for you. And if that wasn't obvious, she's got this here on her LinkedIn profile with the quote-unquote transgender flag. Clear activists there. And making it clear to all employers that she is an activist. We've got this too. Kalani M. shared that she was laid off. She says, this layoff also includes me and includes some of the most passionate, creative, and dedicated people I've known. I'm also across the country from practically all of my family and my friends because I moved here for the job of my dreams. No, I'm not okay, not even in the slightest. She is also an activist, posted in 2020 that encouraging her followers to support Black Lives Matter. She wrote this, if you haven't already, please start and or continue searching for information and ways to help the BLM movement. Please feel free to reply with any other helpful sources you've found too. So clearly lots of activists being laid off here. This person, Tammy Lamb, wasn't actually laid off, resigned, saw the writing on the wall, and resigned before the layoffs came down. But Lamb posted this on LinkedIn. I am in a weird spot as I'd already put in my resignation last week and am therefore not included in the reduction, but I was suffering from the morale of feeling the impending layoff and watching so many great people leave over the last year. The people at Bungie deserve better. The game industry deserves better. There has to be a different way to do all of this. So clearly there are people at Bungie that saw the writing on the wall. I think they had layoffs 9 months ago, back in 2023. And now, obviously, new layoffs here. So people were probably already seeing the writing on the wall, didn't want to get laid off. We're already looking for opportunities, and we're jumping ship. In this case, Lamb kind of confirming that. But Lamb also wasn't a woke activist. Says she's a feminist back in 2018. Says, sometimes I feel like I'm a bad feminist because I actually enjoy when guys flirt with me. I like feeling cute and desirable so long as they back off. If I say I'm not interested, I'm cool with affection thrown my way. She also tried to encourage people to watch Disney's Strange Adventures because of its diverse cast and gay representation. She said Disney's Strange World is on streaming today. Give it a watch for the diverse cast and gay representation. It's also a heartwarming watch, particularly for dads. Clearly not. I'm a dad. I would have no interest in watching the show, primarily because it has quote unquote gay representation. Don't want to indoctrinate my children into disordered lifestyles. I will stay away from that. And if you're trying to encourage people to watch something purely because of its gay representation, you are an activist. Lamb also posted this in May 2022, saying it's really disappointing if your company releases pride swag yet says absolutely nothing internally about any of the issues affecting trans employees in the U.S., particularly if you have a studio in a state that's hostile to LGBT folks. So clearly an activist here. Lots of posts, and then also posted this in 2020. Trans rights are human rights. There's no such thing as transgender, so they don't have any rights. It's just utterly ridiculous. They have this. People that claim to be transgender have the same rights as everyone else. Unfortunately, though, it doesn't look like they cleaned house of all their woke activists. We know this guy here, Thickest Yosh, is still employed by Bungie. He was asked by this guy, Vorin, are you safe? Please say so. So sorry to everyone affected. And he says, I'm safe. Many team members were affected. If you recall, covered this guy before. He is a Sweet Baby Inc. defender. He defended the company back in March, writing this. If you're mad about DEI ruining games, you need to grow up. You need to stop wasting so much time on grifters who are only there to manipulate you and milk your anger for engagement. You need to talk to people who aren't like you a bit more. You need to stop falling for this. So clearly trying to defend Sweet Baby Inc. and their multiple statements that they were trying to take over the video game industry with the pushing of their woke ideology and their anti-white rhetoric. That is what Sweet Baby Inc. is all about. Have had multiple videos covering that, which is from statements from the CEO, Kim Belair, CEO of Sweet Baby Inc. So clearly, they haven't eliminated all of their woke activists and woke ideologues. One of the biggest here is still employed, clearly, who's expressing this on X. But given the fact that they haven't done that, I think that they're likely to go the way of Forspoken, of Saints Row. They're likely to go the way of Volition, likely to go the way of Luminous being shut down, being absorbed into Sony. They're already getting absorbed into Sony. We just got that announcement, right? 155 employees being absorbed into Sony. So I think that if they don't get rid of these woke activists, these woke ideologues in their company, if they continue to promote woke ideology outside of their video game development, they will suffer the same fate as Luminous, as Volition after their massive disasters in Forspoken and for Saints Row. They're going to suffer the same fate as, I forget the name of the developer right now. I think it's like Surgent Studios of Tales of Kenzara the same as A44 Games. We already know that they had big layoffs back in May. Covered that just this morning. And then obviously the $200 million impairment charge that Warner Brothers Discovery had to take on Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. And we don't really know what's going to happen with Rocksteady, whether or not they get shut down or they are already, it seems like we've seen reports that they're already being repurposed to help out other games in development at Warner Brothers. So I can see the same thing happening to Bungie if they do not course correct in a huge, huge, huge way. Obviously, they have gotten rid of some of these woke activists, but clearly there are still a lot embedded within the company, and you have to get rid of them in order to save the company. And I think that their upcoming game, what is it called here? What did they say the game that they were going to be focusing on? I got to scroll all the way up here. Sorry. I can't remember what the name of this game was. Obviously, they do Destiny, but they've got their upcoming game, Marathon. So they need to get rid of this stuff. They need to get rid of all the woke ideology that they probably have already baked into Marathon. And if they don't, they're going to lose a lot of money and likely end up getting shut down or absorbed into Sony, as we saw Square Enix did with Luminous, as we've seen Volition get shut down by Embracer. So I think that is a huge, huge possibility. They're already seeing 155 of their employees get absorbed into Sony. So it's not out of the realm of possibility if they do not course correct. And I think in order to course correct, they have to get in new leadership who will put a stop to this, because obviously Pete Parsons was allowing it to happen and he is still in charge. But those are my thoughts on this. Let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, but to always speak the truth.